The Diesel Brothers, Heavy D, Diesel Dave, Dave and Dave, which makes it really easy, and Sailor, who's already stealing the show.
Yep.
Hi, Sailor.
Say hi.
Hi.
Hi. Glad that you're here with us. Lots to talk about, but first, besides Sailor, what we're staring at is one of many probably garages behind you. So what are we looking at right behind you?
So right there is the Brodozer. That's the original Brodozer that we built. It was intended to kind of just be a rock crawling, car smashing, do everything type of rig. We bought it wrecked and then ended up obviously turning into this. And then this has turned into other forms of the Brodozer, which like the Monster Jam Brodozer, the monster truck that I drive. That's the truck that we take all around the country, you know, in front of the big stadium shows. It's a little different type of truck than this. It's made for jumping bigger and doing bigger tricks. And then we have a mega truck Brodozer that's made for racing basically just in the mud. So the Brodozer, you know, that started as just a single rock crawler is now a whole franchise of trucks.
And it's unstoppable. This truck, we have beat it to a pulp and haven't been able to break it. We've broken it once?
No, I don't think I have.
Besides punching a hole.
That was from jumping it.
The good news is if you do, you know who to go to fix it.
Yeah. We end up fixing most of our rigs out in the middle of nowhere because that's where they usually break. So we don't spend as much time in the shop working on them as you would think because we're out using them. We don't like our trucks to. In fact, this is probably the longest this truck has ever sat inside. It's usually outside, you know, getting beat on because that's what we built it for.
I was going to say they do look very nice and clean, well polished.
It's been a long time.
Talking to me.
Yes, thank you.
Well, let's start from the beginning. Anyone that knows you from Discovery Channel, your social media. But you're Dave and Dave, but you're known by Heavy D and Diesel Dave. So how did these names start?
You know, Diesel Dave, we started making videos back in 2012, and he was doing these selfie type videos back kind of before selfie videos were a thing, and we were posting them online, and obviously his name was Dave, and one day one of us or somebody, I can't remember even who it was, called him Diesel Dave, and it just stuck like glue. And then so he was Diesel Dave, and I was just regular Dave.
Yeah, you can't have that. You can't have one guy with a nickname and then have one Heavy D, or no, one Diesel Dave and one regular Dave. So I found out that in high school he wanted to be nicknamed Heavy D, like the rapper.
But it was a joke more than anything, a high school nickname, and I mentioned to him one day, and he called me Heavy D in a video, and it was a joke, worked. And it stuck.
Because he likes to drive heavy equipment too, so it actually fits him very well.
Be careful what you wish for when it comes to nicknames, and be careful what you let somebody call you because you never know what's going to stick. I mean, I joke about it. It originally was a joke. I don't mind it. I think it's actually fairly fitting now with who we've become and what we do. And obviously, you know, Heavy D is way more exciting than Dave.
There was a lot.
Yeah, it could be worse. All right. Well, the show's called Diesel Brothers. You're brothers, but you're not actual brothers. So two of you met at a singles group. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, we were going to church up in Farmington, Utah, looking for ladies of similar faith, and found each other instead.
But later on, at the same church, I did find my wife. So I found my best friend and my wife. So it paid off. Going to church, I guess, it's got its perks.
Then I found my wife at an Alan Jackson concert, so you know she's a saint.
There you go. And now both dads as well.
Yes.
So happy early Father's Day coming up.
Thank you.
What's been the best part? I know being a dad, of course, I'm a new mom, so every part of it's good. But what about the garage and your kids? Have you had some fun in there yet?
Yeah, this is their play place. This is their heaven in here. Dave's kids are here every single day driving their Jeeps and their little motorized trucks and bicycles, and Sailors in their Jeep at home driving around the yard. It's like,
yeah, it's been really fun to watch my kids learn how to drive without having to teach. I've taught them how to do the basics, but watching them learn things on their own and seeing the natural talent and instinct that they have, that's been like honestly one of the coolest parts of being a dad, is watching them just naturally pick things up and learn and see what they're good at and what they're not necessarily good at. I love that. That's been one of the best parts of being a dad.
His boy Matt can barely talk, but he can parallel park his Jeep between
Yeah.
2 racers here in the garage, and he can drive through the smallest gaps. It's amazing.
He could outdrive 9 out of 10 adults.
Yeah.
Before you know it, he'll be driving the brodozer.
That's
Bye,
all
Dad.
he thinks about. All he wants to do.
Get up in there,
In fact,
bro.
I have another boy. My youngest is Mac, and then the one above him is Bo. And Bo says that he's going to drive the Bodozer.
Mm-hmm.
So it's fitting.
That works very well. What are the qualifications to drive it? Is it only the 2 of you that have ever driven this vehicle?
So depending on which one, this one behind us.
Yeah, that one. I feel like you don't let very many people drive that.
You know, surprisingly, I let anybody drive it because it's hard to screw up. It's so forgiving and it's so big that really, if you mess up, it's the other vehicle or the terrain that's gonna take the beating rather than the truck. It's very simple. You get in and you drive it like a regular truck, other than the rear steer. It works off a little switch, like a little toggle switch. But other than that, it's pretty easy to learn how to drive, and people are always intimidated by it. And then they get in and they're like, "Oh, this is like driving my car," but it'll go anywhere.
Let's go back to season 1. Discovery Channel found you guys. You guys partnered with them. 7 seasons in now. What was it like when the cameras and the lights first
Very
came
different.
around?
I was not used to having a camera in my face all the time, and the stuttering came out with a vengeance, and you ended up doing the same job 10 different times for 10 different angles. And
that's been the most. I mean, we're used to cameras and stuff. We obviously started on YouTube and social media, but in the TV world, in order to make everything work, to be able to tell a cohesive story, sometimes you have to shoot something from a different angle or say something a different way because they only picked up one piece of it or another. So to be able to make sense and be able to tell an entertaining story, you got to go back and redo some things sometimes, and that's the hardest part for us because we live in the moment. We don't want to go back and redo something, and our producers have learned to be very patient with us when they need something done again, and we don't want to do it. There's a little bit of a battle, but we get along really well, and we found a good compromise. And most of what you see on the show is really reality. It's what you see is what you get, and not a lot of it is going back and recreating stuff just because we don't really like to do that.
Speaking of see on the show, there is something I hope to see. I just saw on your social media, you're creating the world's longest slip and slide.
Yes.
How is this coming along?
Very excited about that, actually. So we bought an island in the middle of the Great Salt Lake, 3,000-acre island that privately owned.
I didn't even know there was an island.
Yeah, a lot of people don't. There's 2 big islands. There's one, Antelope Island, that's the state-owned state park. It's about 30,000 acres, and then just to the north of it, there's a smaller piece, 3,000 acres. It's called Fremont Island, and I've had my eyes on it for a long time, actually. And I, stayed in touch with the old owner, the old family that owned it, and kind of became friends with them. And when they were ready to sell a few years ago, we stepped in, and now we're turning it into a little bit of a homestead. Running cattle out there, growing crops, and now attempting to break the world record for the longest slip and slide, which surprisingly isn't as long as I was expected it to be. I expected it to be, almost a mile, but the current record's only 2,000 feet, and it's in the country of Jordan. So we're looking to go almost exactly a mile, if not maybe a little bit more. And it started as what was just going to be a bunch of tarps on the ground and running water through them, and now it's going to be this full-blown inflatable slide. It's going to be interesting. We're going to try to also break the world record for fastest slip and slide. So I don't know if there is a current record, so we might have to set it. But you're talking 40, 50 miles an hour down this slide.
Hey, if you got Guinness coming, you might as well do a couple of records all at once.
That's right.
As many as we can.
So who's the first going down it? That's the question.
Probably whoever falls in first. It'll
Yeah?
be, as soon as it's up and running, both of us will probably be clambering to the top. And
It'll
then
be a race to the bottom.
Yeah, it'll. I'm sure we'll both wind up in there like in a washing machine together.
Well, if you have fans come to this thing, I'd love to be there at the finish line.
We're
Whatever
talking
the
about,
finish line is.
if possible, if we can get approval from the state, because getting to the island is the hard part, getting people out there. You got to cross the lake bed. But if we're able to get that approval, we might turn it into a full-blown event. So stay tuned because it could be really cool.
Sounds like you just have to build a diesel boat or something. And
Already in the works. We've got a boat. You name it. We've created like 9 different vehicles to access that island. So we're already on top of it.
I saw your helicopter.
Yeah, I got the helicopter.
Yep. That'll get some people there.
Yep.
All right. Well, 7 seasons in now, just started season 7 on Discovery Channel. What can fans expect beyond the slip and slide in this island, because I hope there's a whole lot of that, what's to come?
So we're breaking away from some of the stuff that we just traditionally were known for, which is just trucks. We're doing car stuff. We're doing stuff that's not even diesel related, just, motorsports related. Obviously the island's a part of it. It's all about showing who we are and what we're actually doing, rather than just trying to live in a little box of building trucks and, selling them or giving them away. So you're going to see a lot more reality. You're going to see a lot more stuff that's like, wait, I didn't know they did that. And that's the fun part for us, because it shows who we are and what we really do, rather than just a small, glimpse of our lives.
Love it. And part of what you do, we're here talking Ariat, so we're going to get to it, is wear Ariat boots. And before Heavy D, you got here, Diesel Dave had some things to say. One of those was that he taught you how to wear boots. Is this true?
I don't think he'll admit it. I don't know if I'm going to give him that. I feel like.
Were you a flip-flops guy before? What's going on here?
No, flip-flops. He loved it.
Wintertime comes around, he's a flip-flop guy.
I'm not a flip-flopper. I would rather go barefoot than flip-flops. But I don't know, actually. I think I needed a pair of work boots, and I went down to Boot Barn and picked up my first pair of boots, which at the time I didn't know anything about boots. They just so happened to be Ariats, and I wore those things in the ground. I wore them for like 3 or 4 years and wore them almost every single day. And that, like I said, I had no knowledge, no education of what was a good boot, what was a work boot, what was a Western boot. I just went out and got a pair that was comfortable, and the rest is history.
And now you wear them just like you've got there with your shorts on, a pair of boots and some cutoffs. That's the only way to do it.
I wish he'd cut his pants. I try every once in a while to cut his pants off. But
I don't like the feeling of boots and shorts, because I don't like the top part of the boot bouncing around on my shin. So I have to wear tall socks, and it's just there's a lot more that goes into that than you might
funnels
think.
Everything inside.
He has to tuck his socks down so they're not sticking out. I like to wear tall socks. My socks go to like my knee every day. So I don't know. I'm very particular about things like that. And
but I can use it as pockets. I put my phone in here, put my wallet in here.
Put rocks and pebbles in there. What's funny is when we got going with the TV show, we had an opportunity to do a partnership with another boot brand, and we went and did the deal and wore their boots. And I've never talked bad about anybody, but I did not like the product. I hated them. And I was always wondering, not knowing a lot about boots, I was like, why don't these boots feel like those boots that I bought at the Boot Barn, which were Ariats? And so we were kind of plugging along and not real passionate about the project. And then we met Ryle from Ariat. One day he came by the shop I think he was showing his son some of our trucks and mentioned who he was. And I showed him my boots, and he's like, well, do you like those? I was like, not really. They're not really comfortable. And he's like, well, try these. And naturally got me back in a pair of Ariats. And that's how the partnership started again. It was very unintentional, but it was worth me walking away from actually a paid partnership that I had before to just get back in a pair of comfortable boots. And obviously since then we've formed an awesome partnership with Ariat, and we've I think heavily influenced a lot of people that maybe weren't boot wearers before to start wearing boots, especially with the Sport Patriot that Ariat came out with. That's a really, really, really popular boot. That's pretty much all we wear. I got my fancy boots on right now, which are not the Sport Patriot. These are like
I'd wear your fancy boots for the show.
Yeah, these are like my interviewing boots. Like
big time interview right now.
Yeah, these are my fancy boots.
Good thing about those, you can't tell if they're perfectly clean or dirty. They just, from here, they look brand new.
Thank you, Kate.
Yeah, they really look very nice. Very nice. Well, if you're particular about your boots, we got to talk about this going on both of you. Or did you meet with these beards? Was this a point of connection for the two of you?
He says that he influenced me to start wearing boots. I'm not going to give him that. I will give him the fact that he influenced me to get a beard. And I'll tell you, it's pretty funny. 2012, 2013, he started working with me again, kind of moved into our basement, was living there, and was just fresh off of traveling the world. Kind of a little bit of a vagabond, I guess you could say. Just very carefree, single at the time. And my wife and I were thinking, this guy needs to eventually settle down, needs to find a girl. And the only way he's going to be able to do that is if he cuts his beard and cleans up. And he looks nice without a beard. That's the Dave that I knew for the first, however long that we knew each other. And so I was always saying, man, you got to cut it. Granted, back then it was a little more wild. I think he had like a shaved head and,
Bummish.
and a black beard that was dyed. I think I have a picture of him sleeping on a trailer in front of our shop with jet black beard, and he just looked like
I was well on the road to being homeless.
he was 1 foot in the door, 1 foot out of being homeless. And so constantly pushing him, shave the beard, shave the beard, shave the beard. And he just wasn't having it. I don't know why he was so strong, or why because normally, you know, if I give him advice, and it goes both ways, we take each other's advice and you know, respect each other, what we have to say. He was just not having it. So one day I was just like, you know what? If you can't beat him, join him. And so I started growing this scraggly, ugly beard, and it was just nasty, and it stayed nasty for like 2 years. It was just horrible. And then it finally started to take shape, and then people started to recognize us, and it was you know, we used it for our branding, and it was really easy. It's much easier to recognize a guy with a beard, you know, if he's doing a quick social media video or something like that, than a guy without a beard. So we used it to our advantage, and it became part of our brand.
I just recently found out exactly. I mean, obviously a lot goes into these magnificent pieces on your face, but there's like straightener for beards and special oils, and there's a lot that goes into this.
So if you don't tame a beard, it just like your long hair, it gets wild. I get bed beard because I guess I toss and turn at night or sleep on. I don't know what happens, but I wake up.
Bed beard, that's a thing?
Oh yeah, bed beard's the worst. You wake up and your beard is in your nose and your mouth and your ears. It's all over the place. So I probably put more effort into just combing and taming my beard than Dave does. Dave's just kind of does his thing. He doesn't really trim it or anything. I use a lot of beard balm, beard oil. I blow dry it every day. I don't use a straightener just because I don't like the straight beard look, but I definitely have to blow dry it. If I don't, it just gets real poofy.
I could definitely tell there's a difference in styles going on here.
Much
in the
different.
beard, but it's very nice. The wives like these beards.
Right?
Yeah,
Matches your personalities.
Party beard and business guy. I'm just the back half.
Beards are a lot of work. I mean, shaving's a lot of work, and I would much rather deal with the beard than shave because I just can't. I just hated shaving always. So this has been nice, but you don't just wake up and look like this. You gotta put a little bit of effort into it.
You can wake up and look like this though.
Oh man, heavy D Diesel Dave. We sure appreciate your time. Love watching Diesel Brothers. Everyone could catch it on Discovery Channel, from slip and slides to beards to boots. Let's do it again.
Sounds good.
Definitely that island. I'd love to come to the island and the old bro dozer up there. Let's take her for a spin.
Yeah, you'll be seeing a lot more of the island here soon as we go out there and start doing stuff like the slip and slide and other things. So hopefully we get people out there soon, and you're always welcome.
Sounds good. Take you up on it. Appreciate you guys.
Perfect. Thank you.
Sailor, you're the best.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.